So the weather's been really weird where I live, and people have been asking and saying, why is it cold when it's supposed to be getting warm? And what I say, global warming. They always say, how does global warming mean that it's going to be cold? Okay, so the world gets warm. Global warming. The world gets warm. But when the world gets warm, Antarctica, which is very cold and made of ice, and so Antarctica is breaking apart and melting. That's where you hear about the polar bears. The polar bears are dying because Antarctica, which is ice, is melting. And when the ice melts, it goes into the water. And since the Earth is majority water, and the ice goes into the water like a refreshing glass of water with ice in it, the water usually gets colder. And since the Earth is majority water, it basically in a way controls the climate in a weird way like that. That's why water is one of the last things to get warm during the summer, because it's kind of controlling the climate. It's the last thing to really drastically change. And since water in an odd sort of way is sort of kind of helping the environment stay centrally the same kind of weather, the drastic change in the water temperature is changing the environment. One example is Hurricane Katrina. People say, whoa, that was a really nasty hurricane. Well, the only way it could have gotten really nasty is because of the strange water temperatures that are coming up and the amount of water that is now occurring and the weird temperatures that are occurring from global warming. Hurricanes are usually formed near Africa and that water area. They travel across the ocean and come into the South America area. Going across, they build up water and power and air and wind and become this huge swirling massive storm. And with that huge swirling massive storm comes disaster and horrible weather. That then comes and destroys cities. The water affects the hurricane. That's why you only get it at a certain part of the year. You only get it during that summer transition fall kind of area. Those are the main big hurricane seasons, and that's why the weird weather big storm hurricane. Katrina was never supposed to get that big until it hit the Gulf. Global warming, but the weather is drastically changing. I'd like to take a Doctor Who quote and put it in here and say, it says as humans, you want to believe something and say faith, but you can't see something right in front of your face, right in front of you. And it's better for you and for the world to get a car that does not use that much gas. We all just carpooled in one car. Not everyone who turns 16 needs a car. It's not necessary because it's using less gas and technically less money. So good for you too. Yay! Recycle. Recycling's amazing. It's like you use something and then why throw it in a big pile in the ground that just sits there when you can throw it in another bag and you throw it in the bag and it becomes something new. Like you're creating something else by throwing something that you just used, like a piece of paper, you throw it in the trash can and then it eventually will become something else. So you're helping create this other thing by throwing it in the trash can that's orange for recycle. And instead of throwing it in this other trash can, well, you're just putting it to its death. All it's going to do is sit there in the ground and say, oh man, I wish I was another piece of paper. Why don't we do this? I'm only asking.